Okay guys, I'm gonna make a video for you guys to show you everything you need to basically cut off your bearded dragon or perhaps a lizard. I have a bearded dragon, but basically this is the stuff you're gonna need. You're gonna need first and foremost, you're definitely gonna need some gloves. Get that. If you don't have it, they're not that expensive. Okay, then you're gonna need some betadine. That's a must-have. You have to have it. It's about 20 bucks. You're going to want to get definitely one of these. Now this was brand new. Now I've already done the surgery. That's betadine on there. Possibly maybe a little bit of blood, but anyway. Your second thing, but I use this to numb the tail. You want to go up probably at least about 2 inches above where the tail is black. You don't really need these, but it's good to have the alcohol pads. You're gonna wanna wipe off your equipment, your hands. You definitely wash all your hands completely. Anybody that's helping you, make sure they wash their hands. Use gloves. You're gonna need some of this. Yeah, gauze out of a first aid kit or something like that. And when it's all said and done, you know, your beardie or your dragon shouldn't bleed that much. I mean, that's how much mine bled. Nice warm bath. That was with some betadine. That's definitely diluted. It's going to end up looking like a light tea color. It's completely watered down. You don't want to have a whole bunch of this in it. Just enough. I mean, after it was all said and done, this was a brand new bottle. I've given her 2 baths already afterwards, and that's how much I've used. So you don't want to use a whole bunch. Pretty much, she's pretty big. So I'll show you in a little while. Pretty much filled up my sink almost all the way, about halfway. But anyway, here's the tail, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw some gloves on. Okay, here's the tail, and it's been at least probably 2 hours since I've actually amputated it. Okay, basically it's obviously turned dark now. It's been off for a while, but this is about where the tail rod is. You want to take it, not too much extra. I think I might have took a little bit extra off, but that's just because I didn't want to take not enough and risk on losing her or having to do this shit over. Okay, so I took a little bit extra. The inside of the tail looks like that. So it looked like it was fairly good tissue, which is a good sign. And let's see here. That's the tail basically. I actually didn't use these tweezers, but they're probably a good idea if you're working by yourself. But I went ahead and soaked these. I poured some betadine in the cup, and not a whole lot, and just enough to soak the tips. Anything that you're going to be touching, your bearded dragon or your whatever you have with, you're definitely going to want to soak that. Like I said, definitely wash your hands. Definitely, if you can, have somebody with you. Don't do it by yourself if you can help it. It's just easier. You can hold the tail out while the other person holds the beardie. You don't want the beardie to just see everything you're doing. Get a towel that, of course, one that you're probably not going to use ever again. Another thing, once you wipe the tail off with the alcohol pad right before you do it and everything, you want to soak her in a nice hot warm bath. Not too hot, about the average temperature, but you want her to soak as long as possible before you do it, just to make the tissue a little softer. It started off with the very tip. after a couple days, it basically just, I mean, it grew progressively. I'm pretty smart about this. I did plenty of research. This is the stuff you're definitely going to need. Okay, basically, let's go take a look at the beardie. Mine actually ate within about 30 minutes, and she ate a lot. She wanted greens. I've never actually seen her try to eat her thing over here. She tried to eat it. So have veggies and whatnot stand by. You definitely want to put extra calcium on it because they're gonna need it. I mean, that's kind of obvious. You want to make sure you have ample light. That you definitely want to mist their cage regularly afterwards, and you should probably do it anyway, probably at least once a day, at least. You definitely, after the surgery, what I did was I let her tail soak. I didn't just put her in the iodine bath. That's something I forgot to mention. You don't want to soak your beardie in the entire bath because she's subject. She might drink it or whatever, you know. And that's something you're not going to want to happen. And that knife that I got, it's perfect. You can get it at Home Depot. This is what it looks like when you, okay. You get it at, I guess, maybe a hobby store, hardware store, whatever. You're definitely going to want to get that knife. Seriously. I mean, it cut it one little swipe. It was a lot easier than what I was expecting. Some people say they just break the tail off. I really wouldn't advise that because you want to get past the infection. You want to get to the good tissue so that it fights off anything that may still be left over. You don't want anything left over at all. You want to cut it above it. She is almost back to herself. Of course, the wound is not completely closed, but it's not bleeding. Now, after you initially cut the tail off, you're gonna want to wrap it up in the gauze that I showed you. First and foremost, what you're gonna want to do is apply pressure for about 2 minutes. Not too much though. Put this on it. After you apply the pressure, get a new one. Don't use the same one that you initially did right after the surgery because that's gonna have about that much blood on it, possibly more. That's done soaked through for a while. And you're gonna wanna, after it's all done, you wanna start on the actual skin or whatever you wanna call it. Put a little bit of the tape on, and then wrap your way down. Of course, hope I don't forget anything because. This is pretty important, and I was hoping I could find a video. I didn't really find any that were like this, so I'm hoping I can help somebody. I'm sorry I'm shaking, kind of kneeling down and whatnot. But like I said, I mean, 30 minutes after the surgery, she was ready to eat. She was a lot more active. I mean, if I didn't know no better, I would think that I did the surgery a week ago or something like that. Like, she is just very responsive. Nature will take its course. First thing she did was get in here and she held her tail right up to the light, you know. Now I left the bandage on for about an hour. You know, I would advise you do not leave it on all day. I mean, that's just to stop the initial bleeding itself. Like I said, don't leave it on all day. It's got to have heat. It's got to get the sunlight or, you know, UVB, all that. It's one of its defense mechanisms is to snap its tail off or, you know, break its tail off, whatever, release its tail. So once it happens, nature will take its course. You definitely want to keep an eye on it, of course. Like you see how she's bending it up towards the light, you know. Before with the dead tail, it just was kind of like it had no life in it at all. It didn't, like I said, this happened really fast, probably 3 days, I think it was, really. Alright, a few things I forgot. I'm probably going to put this part in the beginning, but I forgot to put this in the initial video. First things first, this is what I did. Of course, if you can afford it or if you can find a decent vet to do this, take it to the vet. Let them deal with it. Secondly, if you can't, remember this is what I did. This is the only thing that it was actually my girlfriend's idea, that I never actually read or heard about online, was the Orajel. I think that is a very, very smart idea. I guess you can go buy some human skin numbing cream, that might work too, but the Orajel is probably cheaper, and it's gonna work pretty much just as good. That's just my guess. Of course, we don't know what she actually feels, but anyway, once you put the Orajel on, definitely put enough on it and rub it in, and then put a little bit more on it, like in the next minute or two. And you want to give it a nice kind of thick coat just to make sure it numbs it as best as possible. You want to leave that to sit for about maybe 20 minutes. After that 20 minutes is when you give her the bath in the betadine. I know I said iodine once in the video. Don't use iodine, use betadine. Like I said, dilute it. You don't need much, but you need a lot more warm water than you would need betadine. But like I said, it should be like a light tea color. All right, once you're done the surgery and you apply the pressure with the gauze, don't put Neosporin on it until you stop most of the bleeding. Once you soak the tail back in a different warm bath with different betadine in it. You don't want to use the same betadine in the same bath water that you did before you started the surgery, with the initial soak, just because it'll probably be cold by then, and it's also infected by then too. Especially if you did it before you cut it, it had the infected tail in it. Don't use the same bath water. You want to put the Neosporin on the fresh gauze right before you wrap it up with the surgical tape or the medical tape, whatever. You're going to want to apply directly on the wound with your gloves, and then put extra on the actual gauze. You can never use too much Neosporin in the beginning. In the beginning, be generous with that as well. Take the bandage off within about an hour, and give her one more quick soak, just the tail. Soak it in another warm betadine bath. Of course, dilute it again. Like I said, this is what I did. It's working well so far. We're only a couple hours after the surgery. So like I said, I'll keep you up to date. I don't think I forgot anything. Feel free to comment or add anything, any tips or ideas. Once you give her once you take the gauze off and you give her the next bath, don't forget to apply, once it's just an open wound with nothing covering it, make sure you apply extra Neosporin. Halfway up the tail, at least an inch or two past the cut, and then put a nice good glob on the actual cut right after the surgery. And you're going to want to do this at least 2 times a day, and give her a bath in warm betadine at least 2 times a day. Try to do just the tail. Don't just let your beardie soak in the damn betadine. Okay? You're going to want to do that twice a day. Apply Neosporin twice a day until the wound is completely healed. Okay? And that's got to be it. I know that's it. So, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you.